So I want to talk about the identity shift that allowed me to step away from people pleasing completely. And it really unlocked everything for me. Because if I think back to who I was as a teenager, I think about 15-year-old Maddie, she was actively trying to manage people's perceptions of her. And that process, that cycle is exhausting, let me tell you. And I think what I was really after is trying to get people to have the right story about who I was. So I was correcting people's perceptions. I was shrinking myself to fit into molds that made sense to other people. And I just became further and further distanced from myself. Until one day, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I realized that my worth and my value were not something that needed to be proved. They were things that were inherent, things that I already owned, things that were mine and not someone else's. Because if you really think about it, your worth and your value are not assets that can be taken away from you. But we place so much value, for lack of a better word, on how others perceive our value and our worth. So that's where things can get lost in translation and where we have a tendency to lose ourselves. When you know your worth and when you understand your value, you immediately stop this process of trying to defend yourself against other people's perceptions of you. Someone else's perception of you is simply a story that they have about you that lives in their head. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean you need to validate it. And it doesn't mean it's yours. It's just their version shaped by their wounds, through their lens, through their insecurities, through their misunderstandings and their pain that comes from their own experiences. It literally has nothing to do with you. At some point, you'll land on the question where you're asking yourself, why am I trying to defend myself against someone else's narrative? And to take it a little bit deeper, why am I trying to convince myself that someone else's perception of me is mine to hold? Because it's not, and it never was in the first place. The moment you stop trying to validate other people's perceptions of you is the exact moment that all of that energy, you get to put that back on you, and you get to focus on your story and writing your own story separate from how the world perceives it, from how the people around you perceive it. The only story that actually matters is the one that you're writing about yourself.